Hi, everyone. So this is Jay Wu from White Pagoda Group, and today we're honored to have Dustin Miles joining us, and he's the managing partner at Momentum Multifamily, a Texas investment firm focused on acquiring and transforming value-add apartment communities. So with over 15 years of experience, Dustin has grown his platform to over 16,000 units under management and more than 3,000 units acquired. And Dustin, great to have you here.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Okay, so before we start this, I know it's a lengthy intro, so just wondering if there's anything that you want to add before we start the interview.
Uh, yeah, the only thing I would add is just I've been in multifamily for a little over a decade, so I've been gone through ups and downs and all that. And then my background is engineering. You don't have to be necessarily an engineer to be want to think about risk, but just ingrained in my head is I want plan A, B, and C, and just to mitigate risk is kind of a fundamental thing about me in general.
Mm.
So.
Cool. All
Yeah,
right. So how did you first get started in real estate, and what drew you into multifamily investment specifically?
going back to a little kid, I think, I would ride my bike around town and just kind of wonder, who owns that building? Who owns that building? And I figured it was Wall Street that owned a lot of these buildings. And anyways, I played soccer. I've played soccer my whole life, and I played soccer with a kid, and his family owned a lot of those large buildings, and they actually own a skyscraper in downtown Fort Worth, and they own a lot of other commercial property. But yeah, so that kind of gave me early on. I was very fascinated by that. I'd gone to their house, and I was like, okay, they're normal people. They put on, their shoes one at a time, like they can't fly. And I mean, I was like, my 8-year-old brain, I was like, I'm as good as soccer as their son. Like, why can't I do, kind of what they can do? But so that kind of gave me, I guess, kind of ingrained maybe confidence as a kid. And then later on, as an engineer and all that, I was doing single family rentals and flips on the side. And the coaching program that I was in also taught multifamily. And so I got to see people that, some other people that own 50, 100, 200 units. And so that also kind of gave me a lot of confidence. And I had invested passively as well. So that was I like to dip my toes in the water. And anyways, but yeah, and then started put my first deal together in 2014. So, but I like the business aspect of multifamily versus single family. Single family, not that it can't be a business, but at least the scale that I was doing it at, it was, I didn't really have any systems or processes, and that kind of, bothered me a little bit. But I like multifamily. I like the scale, and I like the kind of the business aspect of it.
How has the ever-changing environment affected your acquisition strategy? Interest rates has been hiking, and there is a mass deportation when it comes to tenants, and the economy is uncertain right now. So how are we going to deal with this type of environment when I'm going to acquire new properties or or operating a property?
Yeah, so I guess as far as the acquisition strategy and all that, we haven't really run into the mass deportation or anything. We have one property, and I don't know if they're still going by there, but we did have ice trucks going through our property. It did affect a few residents that just honestly left just because of the demographic of our assets. It didn't affect us greatly. I do have some friends where it was a pretty significant change, though. And then as far as the acquisition strategy and all that, I mean, yeah, we just try to take everything into account. The biggest thing is location. What's the household income for the area? What do the schools look like? And we're not I've we have a lot more tools than we used to when I first started out. So, it was kind of challenging to understand like what crime looked like for instance, and so we have a lot more data with that, and so yeah, obviously staying away from high crime areas and all that. But I think right now the deals that we're offering on, we're just putting an offer that works for us, regardless of what the broker is telling us. Hey, you need to get to this number, you need to get to that number. I don't honestly, I just don't. I don't care. It needs to be a number that works for us. And we're not a group. We don't have to buy. We don't have expensive overhead and office space and all that other stuff we have to pay for. So we get to just go after the deals that we feel are worth pursuing.
Great. So what has been your toughest deals or biggest setbacks over the years, and how do you protect investor capital during downturns?
Yeah, I feel like it's funny you mentioned that. I just posted about this on LinkedIn a little bit. I feel like every deal has a curveball, and no matter how much we plan and we try to mitigate, issues and whatever, mitigate risk, but every deal has different aspects. But yeah, I think just trying to do, to your point about protecting investor capital, a lot of the deals that we've looked at and that we pursue, we've already offered on that deal in the past, or we've offered on one of the comps. And so usually we have a very good feel in like the deal we just bought, we own the deal next door. So I think just um, and we're not trying to buy all over the country. We're sticking to two metros, and at some point, maybe look at Austin, San Antonio, but we're right now it's these two metros. And so I think just we have a lot of data on and a lot of background on the deals that we're pursuing. So I think that helps a lot. I think the fact that we have, and then also we can lean on asset living. We work with asset living. They're the second or third largest management company in the country, and if we haven't offered on the deal or offered on one of the comps, they probably manage one of the properties around there. So then we can kind of get insight into what that area looks like. So basically, we're trying to do as much homework as we can to take as many variables off the table. That's how I see. That's our job. So
Right. Well, it seems like there are two themes that I heard from your sharing. I think one is to basically focus, right? Focus on the metros that we're really familiar with, and then
yep,
collect as much as data as possible by
yep,
leveraging some PM, or particularly the PMs, the larger PMs who manage similar properties in the neighborhoods. I think that's going to be very key when it comes to mitigating the risks.
yep, yep.
Right, right. So how do you see the multifamily market evolving in the next 3 to 5 years?
People always ask, or they always say, "Hey, I want to get in when it's the right time to buy or whatever." And I think it's right now is a really good time. We're seeing some pretty interesting deals. We're having some brokers reach out to us to see if we can take over deals for honestly not a whole lot of capital, which is obviously very appealing, and your IRRs could be potentially you know uh, very attractive. So everything has a cycle. So multifamily is kind of in the trough right now. I think the next few years we should kind of come out of the trough. I think in 3 to 5 years, the deals that we're buying right now, in 3 to 5 years, it'll be really good to sell those, or refi, or whatever kind of your business plan is. So I think right now it's been very tough, just to be real transparent there. But I think it should be, the next few years should be a good good for everybody, regardless of where interest rates are. If interest rates do continue to fall a little bit, then that's only going to, kind of put fuel on the fire a little bit.
Okay. So folks, we have to stay very optimistic.
They've been in some deals. They've probably had some challenges, especially if they got in some deals 21, 22. But I think if they're getting into deals now, they're going to be, very happy with the outcome in the next few years for the most part. So.
Okay, so the last question, what is the most important mindset shift for someone looking to scale beyond their few properties? Or
It really depends on their goals. A few of them I've talked to recently, they're just like, "Hey, I'm kind of looking to hang up my boots, so to speak, and I just want to invest passively." And so he was just, just trying to get to know me and all that, just to kind of build a relationship. So I think it really depends on just your goals. I mean, I've known some people who've done very very well with single family and maybe some people should just stay there. I don't know. But I think it just depends on yeah, their goals. Operating is, I mean, it's a job. I mean, just to be, very, very honest, it's not like I mean, I'm not on the beach. So it's a job, and it's something personally I enjoy, but yeah, I think it just kind of depends on what you're wanting to do. And when I started out, I could kind of be a one man band, and the market has matured so much, and there's a lot more interest in multifamily, and there's been a lot of gurus and all that as well. And so you can't really be a one man band anymore. I mean, I guess you could, but it would be really difficult to have a full time job and do especially larger multifamily syndications. So check your ego at the door. I think it's a big thing. I'm a big fan of just building relationships and really big on just very team oriented. I've played sports my whole life, and I just this is a sport per se, but I kind of see it that way, and I just enjoy working with good people that we all work hard and have fun. So.
yeah, I like your metaphor when it comes to comparing multifamily sports because eventually it's a team sport, right? So find the people and network with the people that you admire and you like, and then try to
Yeah,
work on something together and to build
yeah,
a
yeah.
multifamily. Great, great. Well, thank you very much for the sharing. I think that's pretty much all the questions. 关注我，通过房地产实现财务自由。